Welcome back to another interview with an artist who will be on the studio tour June 1st and 2nd. This is Mosa Baczewska. Welcome, Mosa.
Thank you. Thank you.
You are our possibly final artist out of, I think we've done 15 or 16 of these.
Oh, wow.
In preparation for the studio tour. I want to let artists know, though, that if you missed this and you still want to be interviewed, we can do another round of a few more interviews in maybe the last week of May, or third to the last week of May. So this completes our schedule up to now. You can contact Jeremy Tyler at CNL2. He can show you a calendar that you can sign up for a time. We'd like to have even more, but I think we're coming up on nearly 20 of the 66 artists, which is pretty good. That's probably more than I would have predicted.
Yeah, that's great.
You all like attention.
We like to get the word out about what we're doing.
Yeah. So you are a fractal artist.
Among other things, yeah.
How much time do you spend explaining what a fractal artist is?
Well, the simple answer is a fractal is a self-similar infinity, like looking in two mirrors. It's the same pattern, same shape at different levels. So if you know what Romanesco broccoli is, that strange vegetable, green, it's a cone, and it's made out of cones, which are made out of cones, which are made out of cones. It's a total fractal. And I like to say fractals are nature's geometry, because they show up in nature all the time. And they've existed, and then somebody figured out mathematically how to create them. And then there's a program, computer program that I use called JWildfire, that it's not just like, boom, press a button and make a fractal. It's take a transform and put another transform within, move triangles around, because you're working with light and shape in three-dimensional space. So you turn it this way and it becomes a whole different thing. Mm-hmm. And so I've been a fractalian or a fracaholic since 2014. It's been a great joy to express myself that way. I call myself a digital painter because I also take photographs and mix them with fractals, and I did a whole calendar for 2024 with that evolution of my art. And so
we're just at the dawn, I guess, of computer-assisted art, right? I mean,
yeah, for sure. I mean, I had this giant discussion with a friend of mine who said my work was AI, and I'm like, no, there's a difference, total difference, right. But anybody now can become an artist with AI, because you just say, I want a girl in the forest with a bear looking over her shoulder, and boom, there's this picture.
I want to revise the question. I don't want to call it computer-assisted art. I want to call it computer-facilitated.
Yeah,
art.
That sounds good.
Right.
That sounds a better way to do it.
Yeah, you're not turning over any of the creative process to
No, the computer is helping me. It's like it's giving me the tools, and I'm taking all the tools and putting them together to create something. Yeah.
So have you always been interested in geometry? I assume you're interested in geometry.
Yes. When I was in high school, I would come home and do all my other homework and go, now my geometry. I loved it so much. And then I got into learning about sacred geometry, platonic solids, and different forms, and there's a whole science. Okay.
Sacred geometry.
Sacred geometry. Do you know what a platonic solid is?
No.
Okay, so there are 5 of them in the world.
How many people do you talk to know these things? I know this is a smart island, so probably
okay, so
more
the easiest example is a cube. So you think of a cube, it has the exact same square on each side. So any way you turn it, you still see it as a cube. Mm-hmm. So there's 5 different ones. There's a dodecahedron, the icosahedron. They all have different names, but they have different shapes of, what their faces look like. So it's the same line and the same shape that creates this solid. And there's only 5 of them that exist in the universe. And so, when something, well, we could really go down a big rabbit hole talking about this, because it's one of the most thrilling things for me to have an understanding of the geometry of the universe and the geometry of how everything is structured and rises up out of forms that are geometric.
So, I mean, philosophically then, you're suggesting that there's like a pattern to everything,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
There's patterns, there's logic, there's...
There's resonance and frequency and reverberation, and because everything happens, everything is energy, so it all kind of builds on each other, and it can be organic where it can be round and flowing and smooth, and it can be static and straight lines, and but it's all kind of out of the same source.
Has fractal art been around for a long time?
Not really. It's actually a relatively new mathematical discovery, because they're mathematical iterations is what they are. And if I knew code, I would be able to make the images.
So it hasn't been invented, it's been discovered.
Yeah, it's been discovered. Yeah.
Wow.
And named and given, like the Mandelbrot series. The Mandelbrot was one of the mathematicians who...
Well, before we get too far along, let's share with the audience what some fractal art looks like.
Okay, let me move these.
Jeremy's going to switch over to our top-down.
So these are fractals that I've made in the computer program, and it's hours of trying to moving things around, and then sometimes I will take them into Photoshop, render them transparent so they can lay on top of each other, and put several together. So this is probably 2 or 3 fractals put together. And I called this one Blue Emanations.
And it's printed on canvas?
This is printed on canvas, and it also has a backing,
nice.
and a way to hang it. And then this one, this is called Order and Chaos. So this is this is where you can see the fractal iterations of the same pattern.
Yeah.
In this bit here.
That's really beautiful.
How these go, yeah.
But do you have it sideways?
It can go. It can get, well, this little flame is sort of the
okay.
the up and down, but
I'm just kidding.
you can go any way you want. Like go that way.
That's nice.
And then this is another one. This is one of my favorites. That is the rainbow heart.
Beautiful. So they can be heart shaped. That's it's symmetrical, but it's not completely symmetrical. It's horizontally symmetrical, but not vertically.
Right. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And I can change the gradients in there. I could change this to a whole different color scheme, and it's just infinite.
Top down again, Jeremy, please. Thank you.
It's infinite how I can move things around and change like have the exact same pattern, but with different gradient and different color pattern. It would look very different. So
There's a lot going on there.
oh yeah,
It's
there really is.
Evocative.
Yeah, if you can't really see the detail down in here, but there's all kinds of like sparkles and lines coming,
And that
light.
upper stuff kind of almost looks like an echo
yeah,
of some kind. And
yeah, wings or
there's a lot to look at.
people see a lot of different things.
Yeah,
And, yeah,
it's like a Rorschach almost.
yeah. My most popular one is called Manifestation Chamber, and I've sold that a number of times on a canvas, and also it has been included in a tarot deck as the sun card. And that is a very early fractal. I probably did that one in 2014.
Now, is this like a slow-moving process where you see change gradually, or is this hit a button and like you get surprised? How does this creative process work?
I can either start from scratch and put things in, or they have random fractals that you can take and then change everything. And there's a Facebook group, and we post our parameters, of what we call params, and we can take somebody else's parameters and change them all up and make a totally different image. But this was probably an early on. I probably started with a random one, and then I just kept tweaking it until I got that. It didn't start out looking like that.
Is it kind of like a kaleidoscope where you just make a move and you don't know what, and then how do you know when you're done? How do you?
I know when I'm done when it goes, oh, jumps off the screen at me, and
Yeah,
I'm going, oh my
right.
gosh.
I mean,
Because it's infinite, you could just keep going and going with it. In fact, I have some that are like, okay, and then I take a screenshot of that, and then I work on that one, and so within the program, and so I could have various variations of the same thing.
those colors are really vivid. They really pop.
And that's just one. That's one layer of fractal. That's not even not. It's just one layer. It's not multiple layers. That one's called Fire.
Ooh,
and
I like that.
that's a couple layers. Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
It makes me think that when you're creating this, that your mind is like a little on fire. I mean, it would take a great deal of concentration and engagement,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Am I imagining that?
No, it does take some engagement for sure.
I mean, like when I paint, it's like, but you're like in these layers and these levels, and there's just so much going on there. It's hard not to just stare at it, for me.
Well, I call my
In
work.
a good way. I mean,
I call my work food for the quickening. And if something happens in you when you look at it, something's quickened in you.
Yep.
And people really like this one because of that. It's got that really
Really, really cool.
take you in quality. I was with my mom and dad before I was up here, and that's when I discovered fractals. And I could sit with them with my laptop and make fractals while I watched television with them, basically, And that's kind of how I started, just doing it, for several hours at a time.
Had you seen fractals before, or was there an aha moment where you just saw the first one? And
I didn't know what fractals were. And when I saw something on Facebook that this woman, Kathleen Farrago-May, she has since passed, but I actually wrote to her. I didn't know her. I said, can you teach me how to do art like that? And she told me about the computer program, JWildfire, that was a free download that I was able to download and then just start playing with. And yeah.
so did you have like a geometric explosion in your head? That latent geometrist? What would
I call myself a mathemagician.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
So I imagine when you saw this, it's so inherently geometric that it was just like,
Oh, it's thrilling.
it's like, this is my art.
It was really
I've
thrilling.
known this for 30 seconds, but this is going to
Yeah.
be my art.
Yeah, absolutely. However, about 3 years ago, I learned how to paint from my mom, and about 3 years ago, I was like, I want to paint, and I just had never gotten to it until last winter. I discovered Acrylic University online. They had a free master class, and I did that, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to get out my paint. So I've been painting ever since then. And so,
Now, with this fractal work that you've done, has that influenced the way you paint?
it probably subtly has, but I don't paint fractals.
No.
Yeah, but I paint scenes from life and from imagination, but sort of life's imagination. I've got a couple paintings here that I'm totally enamored with painting small right now. Mm-hmm. So this is 3 inches by 3 inches, and this one's 2 by 2, and they come with an easel. And I've just been painting sunsets recently. I have a picture of all the sunsets that I've created on 2 inch by 2 inch, and now I've moved over to moon rises, and then I have miniature paintings in the advertisement for the studio tour as one of my things. That and the fractals on my hats. I've printed fractals on fabric, and I make hats out of them.
Let's talk about the hats.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've been making hats for probably 20 years, and
Pre-fractal.
Pre-fractal, yeah. And there's a picture that is the fractals printed on the fabric and then made into a hat. And the hats are fleece lined, so they're winter hats. They're very warm, and the fabric is a cotton linen fabric that holds up really well, and the images come out really beautifully.
And some of your hats wind up in the infusion center at the hospital, is that right?
Yes, I have donated hats there. because sometimes hats just don't sell for a long time. I'm like, okay, somebody needs this hat, and you know, I'll gather up a bunch of hats and donate them.
Yeah, that's really good of you. That's a really good photo.
Yeah, that was taken at the farmer's market, actually,
On a phone?
on my display. Yeah, on a phone.
It's humbling how good the phone pictures are now. We've got
I know.
$3,500 cameras that I don't think would take a picture that good.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And then I have, I'm now making hats with just conventional fabric too, but I'm making reversible hats that have a brim on them. And there's 2 hats in one.
Cool.
And then it has elastic so that it's a one size fits many.
Yeah.
And so I'm in the process of cutting and designing those. And then I'll have fractal hats as well.
You do the sewing.
Oh yeah, I do all that, yeah.
So have you been a creative your entire life?
Yes, yes. Both my parents were creative, and when I was growing up, if my friends would come over, we'd be doing something like copper enameling or something. You know, we'd always have some kind of craft going on, some kind of really fun thing to do. Yeah.
You say that, I know that I did copper enameling in school. I can't even really remember what it is, but tell us what that is.
Well, it's a piece of copper, and then there's powdered glass,
Yeah.
and then you make a design with the different colors of glass, and then you fire it, and it turns into a glaze,
Yeah.
a glaze design.
I must have had good high school art classes because I did a little bit of everything.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
we had
that's a
batik and copper
that's a good
enameling,
program.
and
Yeah.
it was something. But yeah, it has stirred something in me to get back to this, what this copper enameling is. I need to look at that again.
Yeah.
So let's see. We got to ask everybody how long you've lived here. Everybody has to be asked how long they've.
I'm in my 9th year.
Okay.
I arrived on Christmas Eve in 2015.
What's the story there?
After my dad died and I took care of getting the house sold, I packed everything in my van I thought I would need to land somewhere. And put
Coming from where?
Down in Seattle, or
Okay.
Edmonds, you know,
Okay.
unincorporated Edmonds. And I put everything else in a pod. And I traveled across the country, up into Maine and Nova Scotia. I was in Nova Scotia on my birthday, and then down around through Missouri. And I had visited here before I traveled. And so I wrote to my friend and said, hey, how's it going? And she had her house on the market. She said, well, my job increased. I took the house off the market, fixing up a room upstairs to rent out. And I'm like, can I rent a room? Because I didn't know where I was going to be. But when I visited here before I left on the journey, I was like, wow, I can't believe this. But I didn't know if I could live here. I didn't know how I could live here. Anyway, I landed here, and I just found this poem that talked about how I thought I would only be here for a few months to recuperate. But then the moss caught my attention, and the madronas caught my attention, you know, so I just basically fell in love with it here, and I just stayed.
Isn't it cool how the moss is the brightest green in like January?
Yes.
It's there is really hardly any dead season here. I'm from Missouri, and
Yeah,
boy,
I spent 22 years in
it
Missouri.
is dead, you know, from November till what, March,
Yep.
really,
Yep.
late March.
Yeah,
But here, the greenest month is like January.
yeah,
It's amazing.
yeah.
And the moss just glows. It's so cool. And so, yeah, what part of Missouri?
The Ozarks, Ava, Missouri.
Oh, okay. I know that too. So you have been here for 9 years, and you've made a lot of friends, and some of your friends are musical.
Yes.
And you're musical.
Yes, yeah. I've been pretty much a solo performer for a long time, but I've always wanted to have a band that would, you know, do my music and other music. And actually, I started a band in 2019 with 3 other women, Laura McKee and Trinity Althoff and Maddie Kingsfield. And we had one performance on December 13th at Wayfinder Wellness. And then the winter happened and Trinity went traveling, and then the pandemic hit, and we never quite got back together again. So sometime last year I started thinking about, you know, it'd be great to play music again. I said that to Laura, And she's like, yeah, we should figure out who we could invite, to have. On the same track, River Wild was thinking she wanted to have a band because she and Luna had been in a band before. So we sort of coalesced, our thought forms, and now we are Ugaya, which is, we've adopted the name from our other band. And
2.0.
Yeah, and we're in rehearsal now for a performance, our debut performance, on June 9th out at Aurora Farm. And we're very excited.
And what are the genres?
Well, we are eclectic and innovative. We sort of defy genre because we're all songwriters in our own right, and we come from all different influences. Like I have one song called Country Driving Love Song that definitely sounds like a, kind of a bluegrassy thing. Mm-hmm. But I also have something that's sort of jazzy, and, so we really can't be defined at the moment.
So it sounds like your concerts will be unpredictable.
No, I think they're going to be very cohesive in the fact that of our sound, the sound that we're creating, with how we are arranging the songs.
Now you sing?
Yes,
and
I've
you
been play guitar and keyboard.
And River is drums?
She's a drummer, and Luna's a bass player, and Laura's a guitar player.
Well, it's going to be a great sound, and it's coming up, right? Did you say the
June 9th?
June 9th. Yeah. Will people need tickets for that?
No, just have to show up, but please carpool because it is, sort of limited parking there.
Will there be food?
Yes, there will be food served, sold, for, and there'll be, if it's cold, they're going to have fire pits and, heaters, and it's going to be in the barn, and so there'll be dancing.
Well, I can't wait. I think it's, I snuck on the internet and watched a recording of River. I unfortunately haven't seen all of you, but I've seen River's performance. It was pretty impressive. Heard it, I guess. It wasn't video, it was just audio. So my hopes are high. I think this is going to be really nice. And then are you talking about other gigs beyond that, or are you just going to take it one gig?
We applied to the fair, and we applied at Pride Fest, and we're going to be singing at Joe Romano's party.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So, so we're already kind of booked a little bit.
You're going to be singing here at CNL2?
We will do that, yes.
Good. Yeah, can't wait.
We're really looking forward to that.
Yeah, well, I'm very persistent, so we're going to get you in here.
Good, that's good.
That'll be great. So back to your art, where can one find your art to purchase?
A few of my things, I also make a line of peace flags, what I call peace flags. And a few of them, like I have the rainbow peace flags, are at the co-op. But mostly I sell at the farmer's market. I do have a website, mosazone.com. Not everything's on the website. My paintings are not on the website. But mostly it's going to be in person at the farmer's market.
Do you try to go to all the farmers markets?
I do usually 2 a month.
Okay.
The crafters really have to sort of share. But it might be changed because there aren't as many farmers now, which is unfortunate. But I 2 a month is
Tell
good
me
for me.
about that. There aren't as many farmers.
Some farmers have moved off island, and some people just stopped farming. And there are farmers, but they have their own. Sometimes they have their own little shop, or they supply restaurants. We used to have at least 5 or 6 different farms represented, and you could go around and get carrots from these people, and
Yep.
I know that Mama Bird is going to be having food, but they don't come till a little later in the season when everything's grown. So it's really kind of interesting, the change that has happened.
Something to keep an eye on, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
You hear the violin music in the background. Our audience can't hear it, but do you hear violin? Hear that? Music lessons.
Oh.
Studio Jam offers music lessons here.
Oh, that's
and
fun.
It's afternoons are nice. At 3 or 4 o'clock, the piano and the violin students come in, and it's nice.
Oh, that's fun.
It's nice here under the Masonic Lodge in beautiful Friday Harbor. So, well, Mosa, you're an artist at heart. So many people that have come through here found art later in life, and a few people have been creatives their entire life. But you know, you're definitely one of those people who has never strayed and was committed from.
Yeah, I had a spiritual teacher one time ask us, "What is your purpose?" And I was like, "To create." And I like creating beautiful, useful art, for one thing. And yeah, and we didn't look at the tapestry crochet pouches, which is the other thing that I'm going to have.
We can do that.
Yeah, I've been making these for over 30 years, and they're made out of 30-weight crochet cotton, and it's called tapestry crochet because I can create little pictures. And I call them keepsake pouches. I do give away crystals, quartz crystals to put in them, but you can, anything that fits in them. I've had some special orders of people who have special gems or special items, you know, small items that they want to have a little pouch.
It's for holding special things.
Yeah, and you wear it as a necklace, so it's wearable art. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And does that say custom orders?
Custom orders available, yeah.
So examples there, a piano keyboard, all sorts of whales.
Yeah, cats and hearts and little scenes, trees and clouds, and I have desert scenes. I have about 40 designs. That's a kind of a limited.
So when one places an order, how fast can you make that?
A couple weeks, and it sort of depends. I can't really do everything because I'm limited by the number of stitches.
Sure.
And how much detail, but somebody did ask me to make them one with ants on it, and I did it.
And this is 30 years of doing this?
Yeah, 30 years.
You could probably do it with your eyes closed.
Oh, not anymore. I have to have eyeglasses now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So.
And these are also for sale at the farmer's market?
Yes, I have them at the farm, but I'll have them at the studio tour too.
Speaking of the studio tour, do you have your own?
No.
Are you someone's guest?
Yeah, I'll be Jeremy Jennings' guest.
Okay.
And.
He's been through here a couple weeks ago.
Oh, great.
A nice guy.
Yeah. So this is my first year of doing it, so it'll be interesting to see how it goes. I've gone to them before and wandered around and seen people's stuff. And that's one of the things we're all talking about is like, we don't get to see anybody's stuff.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, at least you're not at Roche Harbor where they make you be every day for, what, 2.5 months?
I did that one year with two other
Oh, wow.
with two other
What
artists.
a commitment that is.
And we each took 2 days and one of us took 3 days, and it was still a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're contractually bound, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not knocking it. It's a great experience, but it's a real commitment.
Yeah, it is.
I've talked to people, and they're very happy with the results. I mean, it's a big crowd. It's a well-heeled crowd. I don't know. There's a lot of money through there, and a lot of people with good taste. So it makes a lot of sense. But what a commitment!
Yeah.
Every day, 7 days a week, 2 solid months.
Yeah.
So you have a little more flexibility. I wouldn't be able to do that.
No, I'm not interested.
I love
in
Roche
doing that.
Harbor. I always go there.
I was an umbrella artist the first summer. Yeah.
That has a little more flexibility.
Yeah, and you can just go when you want, and it's a first come, first serve. You go, and if there's a space, you set up.
Right.
I mean, you have to kind of apply for it, but still.
Well, it's
Yeah.
great to know that you can be found at the farmer's market about every other week, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Mosa, it's really nice to meet you. You're a nice guest to put a cherry on top of this Sunday
Well,
of
thank you. I've enjoyed
many
this very
artists.
much. Yeah.
And I want to thank all of the artists who have come here. We've had a great time and learned a lot about all the different kinds of art, and there's even more, and we haven't gotten to. Mm-hmm. There's a person who makes kaleidoscopes here.
Yes.
I really want to interview that person. I think that's just so fascinating. But what a great place. And, one of the things, and you may have experienced this too, but even though you were already creative, almost to a person, people have talked about how their creativity either exploded or blossomed, but somehow increased when they got here.
Definitely
because of the
enhanced.
surroundings, but also you're among so many other artists, I
Yeah.
think, and musicians.
Yeah.
So it's just palpable the creativity and the value and the appreciation of art. We were talking off camera about how the beautiful art at the hospital. There's just art everywhere you look.
Yeah.
And so I'm not much of an artist, but whatever artist is in me, would feel very much at home on San Juan Island. So it's been a great series. And now I want to turn the series toward teachers. I want to have, I don't know if we'll call it a Teacher Hall of Fame or something like that, but I really want to focus, these series have been a lot of fun, this series, and I think we can also have a lot of fun in recognizing educators here.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, I think that'll be really good. So I'd like to invite anybody who wants to nominate a Hall of Fame teacher. Could still be teaching, could be retired, I don't care, could be teaching anything. Sounds like your geometry teacher would have been a candidate for this award. But drop us an email if you have any ideas on a teacher, Hall of Fame teacher that we can interview in a series like we've done with these wonderful artists. Thank you, Mosa.
Thank you so much.
And we'll see you soon.